Hello! So, in this week's video, I will be redrawing my original character, Kata, from an artwork I did about a year ago. And from watching this, I've realized I've had Clip Studio Paint for a year. Whoa. So, yeah, I thought the artwork was 2 years old because of the art style, but apparently I used to draw like that a year ago, and damn, my art looks so different. Like, I'm like shocked how different it looks. Also, I should say this before, if you like this video and you're not subscribed, you should subscribe. If you're already subscribed, you should like and share. And you should like and comment. And I have social media, I have a gaming channel, I have a Ko-fi. Oh, and this isn't exactly related to shilling, but I'm going to do something really special for June this year. Or at least I think it's going to be really special. So I look forward to that. And yeah, okay. Now onto the actual drawing. So for this drawing, I redrew an older piece, again from about a year ago. And in this drawing, Kata, my OC Kata, was like sitting on a bench somewhere, and she was like, hissing, which is odd because Kata, she isn't really an angry character. I don't know why in a lot of my older art I drew her as like angry, but I did. I don't know, it's weird. But anyway, so I decided to redraw the piece if I were to draw it now. And the first thing I decided to do was make her not angry. I also decided to make it look like she's trying to look out the window behind her. Because with Kata's backstory, she's very, like, wanting to see things and, like, very wondrous of things that to, like, I guess a normal space citizen would be normal. Like, you know, flying in a spaceship floating through a city. Or being in a transport pod, which is, it's basically like a bus system, but with spaceships that really can only, they fly from one place to the other. They can't go up into orbit, but they just, like tiny airplanes, but like buses. You know, and she's sitting there, she's looking out the window, or she's looking at the person next to her, or she's looking out a window next to her, and she's like, wow, this is cool. Or she's just like admiring the scenery around her. I put her in a similar position, and I crossed her arms because I remembered the old piece, and I was drawing this when I didn't have access to looking at the old piece, so I was like, I think I had her arms crossed. I did not, but it's not the end of the world. I need to practice drawing arms crossed anyway, even though I did not draw the hands, because I think I'm going to go back on the canonically her being self-conscious about her hands, because I was thinking about it, and every other humanoid other than Jat on the ship has 5 fingers. And so for her, if she only had 4 fingers, maybe she'd be like, oh, I'm not normal, and I have to hide my hands. And then she like gets more confident. She's like, look at my hands! I don't know, I thought that'd be cool, because a lot of people have a lot of like different insecurities about like different weird things about themselves. Like, my ears used to bother me for a long time because I had big ears as a kid, and now they don't bother me anymore. So, yeah. So for this drawing, I did my usual, like, normal process, but the thing I did do, I've been starting to paint backgrounds. I also did a slightly different technique with the eye, where I shaded it a lot more simply, and I kind of blurred it out into the rest of the eye. I thought it looked really pretty. My style is slowly going more towards, like, that, like, semi-realistic anime style, and I'm not completely against it. That's kind of what I'm trying to head towards now, because I think I've always loved the way that art looks, and when I was a kid I was like, oh, I'll never be able to do that, and now I'm getting closer to saying, yeah, I can do that. If I work hard enough, I'll be able to do that, and I think I'm almost there. I do need to get better at my backgrounds, though. This background was kind of easy. It was just like, I thought about what a futuristic bus seat would look like. And then the windows, I got lazy. I was gonna draw the buildings, I promise, and I was gonna draw the spaceships like really cool too. But then I was like, man, I'm tired. I'm tired. And so I kind of just drew squares, like pods, like for the spaceships, and then I used the asset store for the buildings. I'm fine with sketching buildings, but there's something about coloring and rendering like skyscrapers that is like the bane of my existence. And I'd much rather use a brush. As you can see, not exactly the look of the buildings that I wanted, but it works. It gives off the idea. I think in space, I think a lot of places would look very similar, at least in the more technologically advanced places, because you would be most, like, what's it called, conjoint evolution, where things like that are completely different from each other evolve similarly because those traits are useful. I'm trying to think of one. Oh, bats and birds, they both have wings, but they're not related, but they've both found wings to be useful, you know? And so I would say that would probably be the same with civilizations. Like, oh, wow, if I build a building out of this concrete-like material, it holds up against the weather better. In both societies advancing, they'd probably come to the same conclusion, especially for large buildings, for large amounts of people, because when societies and, like, civilization evolves, it goes kaboom! And then once healthcare improves, and then people are still having babies, and then it bottlenecks because then the babies have it so good with their educations, they don't have as many babies because they want to wait so they can do their lives. That's like that's our world right now. Anyway, they would come to the similar conclusions about a lot of things. I think the architecture would obviously be different, but like the idea of giant concrete buildings or like things like roads and public transport, I feel like that's just such a general idea that it would exist everywhere, which is what gave me the idea, because in the original drawing, Kata was really technically nowhere in particular. She was just sitting on a bench because I wanted to draw her somewhere in her actual like world. So she's in a bench on like the side of a road somewhere or in a building somewhere, which doesn't really make sense. Like if she was gonna attack or if she was gonna fight, she wouldn't be sitting, or she'd be sitting like in a more like position where she looks like she's ready to jump or kick you, because that's her whole like, most of her strength is in her legs. So her fighting style, she has a staff and legs, and like that's what she mostly uses. Her species was already kind of leg strong because they live in trees, or that's what they're like evolved from. Kata's species is a species of alien that basically, to put her backstory shortly, she got kidnapped off of her planet, and her planet they were more simple. So the space, like, the galaxy decided to leave them alone and let them be like happy in peace, right? But what happened was, like, giant corporations of biotech, which was this whole new thing of body modifications, where they've scientifically gone to the extent of like not biological modifications, like giving yourself a robot leg. And so they decided, hey, what if we can genetically and biologically modify and mash together creatures and like citizens, or, you know, people. And so they start taking people from planets like Kata's planet, so like even like humans are involved in this, and experimenting on them. And because Kata's kind they don't have ears and tails. She got given the ears and the tail from the facility she was at. They also wiped her memory, so she doesn't remember what life was like before then. Anyway, not to go on like a tangent or anything, but because of this, the genetic modification, she was made to be like a bodyguard to somebody who's like really rich. So she's very strong, and even though she's like one of the shorter, I think she's the second shortest, she has the strength in her legs, first her own species, and then like all the stuff she was given to like basically soup up her body. She has the power to like clean kick a human head off, and that's just the beginning of it. Like, if you had a metal door, like, just like, and you locked it and you were like, haha, you can't get in here, she could kick it. Probably not the first time. Probably not the first time, but the second time, she could probably kick it down and actually, like, bust the door. Like, if she kicked it like 4 or 5 times, she'd be able to get down a metal door, which is insanely strong. Anyway, if you want to hear more about my cicada, I have a video introducing my OCs. They're in my videos. If you scroll down far enough, you'll see them. I'm gonna let you guys go, but thank you for watching. If you like the art at the end, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.